Today I decided to make a Minesweeper program. I'm going to base off this. So if I just search up Minesweeper, this Google version of Minesweeper right here. Played this a lot, really like it, so I think I'm going to try and recreate it. I've been learning Love2d recently. I have a little bit of experience, but I am still mostly new to Love and Lua, so this may be like a little kind of tutorial type of thing, but anyways, let's just get started, right? First, I like to go to this tutorial because there's a good sort of example that I like to start out with. Well, I say I like to start out with, but I've only really made one other Lua project before. Let's just check it out. Is it in here? Aha, here. Okay, let's go to my terminal. No files in here yet. There we go. Plugin updates. I do not care. Main.lua, I believe is what it's called. Yes. So, let me go to code C personal slash do slash Minesweeper clear love dot. Perfect. Alright. I guess I can open a file tree just so you guys can see what exactly it is I'm working on. So I'm going to create a game.lua. Okay, so pretty much I'm gonna have Love2d running in main.lua, and then all my code's gonna be in game.lua pretty much, right? So Minesweeper. What we need is a board full of tiles, and we need to generate mines and numbers. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. So let's start out with getting a board. So I'll say, whoops, this is game.lua. I'll say board size equals 10. Local. Alright. So what do we need to do exactly? So we need to split ff main.lua. Perfect. Let's see. So this is going to be a bit of a struggle because I am kind of new to Lua. So Lua importing. Got to require a name. So let's just say require game. So if I just say print hello, and then if I run it, you can see we are printing hello because we are loading game right here, right? So that's perfect. Next, what do we need to do? Let's move this love draw into the game, right? So print game draw. And we just say return shoot, I forgot how to do this exactly. I'm pretty sure this will not work. Yeah. There we go. This is what I need. Local game equals clear love dot. Maybe we need game equals something like this. There we go, right. So now this compiles. Okay, so I'm basically starting out with some boilerplate here. We create the game because I like to keep my files separate from the main file. It's just a little simpler for me to think about. So we create this, when we load game here, we run this entire game file. So we create this game table. In fact, here's one thing we could actually do. Game dot board size equals 10. That way we keep everything inside the game class itself, right? So we have a game as a function called draw, which prints the hello world when we return the game. And love draw we call game draw. So it should just work, right? So let's start by creating a board. Edit, I guess. So we want to say for I equals 1 game dot board size do board j equals 1 game dot board size do board width or height. Okay, we should have one for both. Whoops. Board width. Okay, so we'll say game dot board I equals, so we create an empty table there. Game dot board I j equals 0. Let's start by creating essentially a 2D array of integers. Of course, now we need game.board equals an empty table. Let's see if this runs. Seems to run. Pretty nice. So now we need to start out with drawing the board, right? So same thing, we want to iterate over the board. J equals 1. And then we'll say here's where we need to get into the love rectangle, right? So let's start by saying game dot tile size equals 10. Just make everything 10, like why the fuck not? Anyway, so we have the I and J positions. let's say love, sorry, just want to keep that there just so I see what that looks like. Game dot tile size was 10. Whoops. 12 dot for I equals 1 game dot board height 2 for game dot board width 2 if game dot board I j equals 0, then bulb dot graphics dot rectangle mode. What is the draw mode? Fill sounds pretty good to me. Let's just check the other draw modes. Fill or line? Probably not fill. Okay, fill. Actually, I like to do, yeah. Okay. Number X, number Y. So this is going to be based off I, comma J, and the tile size. So, position of the top left corner along the x-axis. X-axis is horizontal. Ooh. You know what? I'm actually going to change something. Does this really matter? No. Does it matter to me? Yes. Just think it will look maybe slightly prettier. This would be I times game dot tile size, j times game size, width, game dot tile size, game dot tile size, segments does not matter here, I think. Alright, let's just do this so you can read it easier. So, let's just see how this runs. Oh, I see. We never called the init function. So, I believe there is a bit of a there should be somewhere where it tells us how Lua works. Maybe if I search up love.draw, I can get to the other love functions. Love functions. Lua. Let's see if this leads us to the right place. Doesn't seem like it. Maybe here. Oops. Here it is, right? So function love.load. Perfect. Perfect. You cannot tell that they're individual tiles right now because they are way too close. So let's do this. Let's create a game.pattern equals 0. make it 2. Just so you have a, actually 2 is way too small. And the overall is too small as well, so let's make this 20. Right. So we need to space things out according to padding. So I believe if we say padding plus, we just add padding into here. Build up padding, of course. There we go. So you can see a bit clearer now, but what we do is we add tile size to the position, but we add padding to the position. Beautiful, look at that. We have a board. It's pretty configurable as well. I could say, let's make this 20. Beautiful, right? Okay, now what? Now, there's 2 things we could focus on. 1, clicking, like actually clicking the tiles does something, and 2, we can work on the mine stuff. I'm gonna work on clicking first, I think. So, Love2d mouse input. Love2d input detection. Love.key pressed. Alright, let's see what that is. Love.key pressed. Okay, key pressed is cool, but what I'm really after is mouse pressed. Mouse events? No. Keyboard. Maybe it's under the base love. See? Love.mouse pressed. That's perfect. Alright. So let's open main.lua. Function love.mousepress. It takes in an XY button is touch. No, it doesn't. Oh, it is. True if the mouse button originated from a touchscreen touch press. Well, I really don't care about that, so button. And we'll say game mouse press XY button. Alright? Just send everything to the game. Now back in the game, we'll say function game mouse press. I really like camel face. Okay. Okay. So now X and Y are not immediately helpful because it gives the position in pixels on the screen, right? So if I say print XY button. You can see it gives me these huge numbers which don't necessarily correspond to clicks on my actual board itself, right? It's cool though, it detects multiple different styles of buttons, right? 1, 2, 3. So 1 is left click, 2 is right click, 3 is middle click. Could be useful later. So first off, we want to be able to get the tile number from X and Y. So we'll say function get tile press XY. And we kind of need to do a negative interpretation of what happens here, right? So let's see. If I say love dot, let's see the position. So essentially you have to recognize from about 26, 26 down to here, this entire range is 1, 1, right? And this is 2, 2, okay. And we have some tools to help us with this recognition. We have tile size and padding. So we first, for each click, we need to determine like all these clicks, even these ones in the black space, these should correspond to this tile maybe, or this is where progress slows down a little as I actually have to think. um, let's just say this. Optional return Lua. Okay. With pause equals game get progress XY. And equals 0. So does this work? Perfect. Let's say I do return 1. Okay, perfect. Whoops, let's not get rid of the end here. Okay. So, X, let's just say gx equals X% game dot So let's just use this to help us determine what exactly we're looking for, right? Okay. I see. So percent is not what we're looking for. Well, we are looking for, see, you can see out here it says 24. That's how we know we're clicking at the black space, right? So, okay, that's great. That's another filter we can use, right? So tx equals, and what changes to tx? And then if tx greater than game.time size or ty greater than game.time size, then we can. Okay. Okay. So now if I click in the black space in between, it doesn't print anything. See that we only have this one print from this section, but we don't have a get tile pressed info click. Whereas if I click on the tiles themselves, we do have one. Perfect. Now we have to get the actual number of the white tile itself, right? That's going to be a harder thing to do. Let's see how long we've been recording for. Wow, 27 minutes already, and we barely have clicking done. Well, we don't even have clicking done, actually. This is a hard project, hey? Okay. Let's say gx equals x divided by. I'm not entirely sure if this is what I'm looking for, but I'm just trying to experiment right now. I see, so it goes from 1 at the far left all the way to 1.8. Should start at around about 2. Maybe what we need is just a rounding function, right? So let's search Lua rounding. Math.floor. That could work. Do I have to import it, or can I just say does this work? Cool. Yeah, cool. So we have, alright, perfect. So what I'm doing is I'm getting this to get the actual tile that I click on, right? Rounding it to be a whole number, and then I'm just going to return it. And I set it to grid pause here, and if grid pause exists, then I'm printing grid pause. So let's see if this works. Nice. Okay, I see one problem. I can click on 212, but 212 doesn't exist. So we also need to do a bounds check in here, right? So we'll say if gx less than 0 or gy less than 0 or gx greater than game dot for width or gy greater than game dot board height, then return, right? For out of bounds, they return. Okay, that doesn't work. The top end seems to work fine. Let me turn off this clip just so you guys can see it a little bit better. So right now we register. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we don't register anything outside, but we do register zeros. Let's not do that. So this should fix it. Beautiful. Now we can tell when we're clicking on tiles. When we're clicking in between, that's nothing. Ooh. So this seems to be working just fine. Perfect. Okay. Now what do we work on? Let's add some colors, eh? I really like this default Minesweeper color layout. So that is what I'm going to try and, let's just say, be inspired by, right? Let me take a little screenshot. Let's get a color picker. Use my own image. Browser drop right here. Okay, great. Isn't that great? Another way to do this is to actually look at the code of Minesweeper itself. If you do this, you go to console, or sorry, not console, sources. It is hidden in here somewhere. I have found it before. It just takes a little bit of digging. Is this it? You can see that all this is obscured, which does make it a bit harder. But if you just control F, hashtag AAD7C is to case grass. So when it's grass, this is how you draw it. When it's dug, this is how you draw it. There are multiple colors here. I'm not sure what each of these are. Let's see what this color is. These correspond to the brownish colors, I believe. What about this? Yes, I'm not too sure what these are. Flag has its own rendering. Bad flag. Interesting. Detonated mine and mine. So let's copy these two colors into our Lua project. Lua multi-line comment. How do you do this? Aha. go to our screenshot. What is it again? E5C. Okay, so it's these two colors. I'm assuming, right? The other one should be like 90. The other one is DB7, D7B. Strange, but okay. D7B 899. D7B 899. Okay. Now what is this color? It's a blue. Why is it a blue? I'm just not gonna question it. Here's our first dark color. Here's our second dark color. I'm curious, so I'm gonna see what this color is. It's another blue. Weird. Number colors, we need those. So here's how I do that. Let's look at one. 1876. 1876 doesn't exist in here. Let's look at twos, maybe. 388. 388. Aha, it does exist in here. Alright. So are these the colors I'm looking for? Let's look at, this would be number 3 in that case, right? D32F2F. Number 3 is D32F2F. Okay, great. Now, the reason I find the colors this way is because I am not going to generate an 8 randomly and then put it into my color picker. Like, that's just way too much work. So, we'll just copy it. Okay, so these are the 3 colors I need for now. So, I just say game.grass. So, actually, let's just say game.grass equals but we are drawing these in love, so let's just see Love2d change colors. Set color. Okay, so you do a love.graphics.set color for drawing objects. Color uses 0 to 1 scale. Got it. Or you could use it, give it a table. Okay, I think that's what I'll do. So, create a table in here. So, our first color is AAD751. AAD751 to RGBA. $175.81. A2D149. A2D149 for the second one. 162. 209. 73. But it said it requires it to be, where did it say that? Hang on a second. Here. Prior to 11, it was 0 to 255. Now it is 0 to 1. So I have these colors. I'm just gonna code everything in and then worry about that. E5C29F. E5C29F. What the hell? Okay. And this one is D7B899. D7B899. 215. 814. Or 184. And 153. Alright. And then game dot tile. Game dot number. I'm gonna make this one a multi-line. Alright. Let's just copy. Whoops. What the hell did I just do? Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm also a bit of a beginner to NeoVim as well. So this is the ultimate project for me to learn everything, I guess. But let me just get these colors put in. I think I'm on this one now. Alright, yeah. Perfect. Actually, I don't need that. Let's just verify there should be 8 numbers in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. But because it only accepts numbers 0 to 1, we have to just divide everything in here by 255, right? Now, I could do this manually, or I could just put it into ChatGPT and get it to generate it for me, which is what I think I'll do. So, please give me this code snippet, but divide each number by 255 because I am lazy. Keep the original values, just add a 255 and then. Perfect. Nice. So now we have all our colors put in. Let's just clean up our file a little, right? And in the game.draw, let's account for this, right? So currently, everything is dirt. So we can or everything is grass, right? So I guess we can do that. Let's say if the value was 0, then we're grass, right? So we'll say love.graphics.set color grass game.grass. Now this one needs to be 0 or 1 depending on whether I plus j set 2 equals 0. Let's try this. Because this should be true or false depending on like 1 percent 2 does equal 0, so that should be true, false, true, false, true, false. I'm hoping that will give me that'll like sort of change my colors dynamically. Okay, bad sign. Maybe the issue is that this can let's just see what exactly we are printing, or what exactly we're trying to set things to. Floor to integer Lua. Actually, okay, I see. So because Lua doesn't have typing, you can't really cast between ints and booleans. So I need to think of some other way to do this. What better way is there to do this than some simple if statement, right? I actually want to put this out here. So if I say local I equals 1. Let's try this, right? And then at the end of this loop, we want to change IDX, right? So we'll just say IDX. Ooh, actually, this is definitely the wrong way to do this. Local IDX equals 1. If I plus j I plus j percent 2 equals 0, IDX equals 2. these all look like the same color. Strange. Let's just see. No, it is clearly alternating between 1 and 2. Maybe the colors are just separated too far apart, so you can't really tell. Let's say padding equals 0. Oh, you can kind of see a difference between the two colors, but it's very faint. I wonder why it barely shows up here. Let's check the Google Minesweeper. I guess it is just a very faint difference. Alright, so I'm fine with this. I do want to make it a bit taller. That's a bit better. And we should make the tiles a little bigger as well. It's a little too big. Alright, perfect. So now let's get these tiles into actual tiles, yeah. So we need to essentially create a quote-unquote tile class. Classes in Lua. Alright, this is a good indicator for how to create a tile. I do have a little bit of experience with this, but alright, I'm still working it out. So let's say we have all this. Let's just say tile equals tile.index equals tile, and function tile new colors local tile equals, and then you say set meta table tile. So you're giving the local object the meta table of the tile class, and then you say, right now we don't have any args, so we don't really care about that, and we just say return tile. Right. There we go. Let's check some more. House industrialization Lua. Okay. So, okay. What I'm looking for is how exactly you use the args. Alright, but I believe what we can do is say this, right? So let's just say tile dot bomb equals args dot bomb or false. Right, something like this. And instead of sending these to 0, we want to say tile new, I'm pretty sure. But we have to change this. So Now this gives a tile class. We say dot long true. Actually, false. Okay. Attempt to index args and nil value. I see. So args. So we say if args, then does this work? Okay, it does work, but nothing's being rendered. Why? If we look at here, this is not working. So all the bombs are true? Question mark? Nope, true doesn't work either. This is something rather strange, isn't it? Because okay, what's going on exactly here? So we set everything to a new tile. I would expect this to be able to access the tiles like this and then just get their long argument, but apparently it's not working. Let's add a print statement just to check how everything is going. Okay, so they are tables. They're all nil. I see, because we only set it. So the issue is we only set it if args exists, but I want it to be able to say like I could give it args that is completely random, right? Like maybe I include bomb, maybe I don't include bomb, but the class itself should be set anyways. So maybe I'll just give it an empty table like this. But that's also not the way I want to do things. Class initialization. Wow, we're going on an hour now. But this is all good work. And it just kind of gives you like a sense of, I guess, what you can do in Lua and how hard it is to learn, how easy it is to learn, whatever you want to say. Standard. Maybe there's like maybe people have some method to do this that I can copy. So, oops. Lua class, maybe this one? Should not be overridden. Okay. Oh, interesting. I could just say tile. Oops. this does end up working. So maybe I'll just stick with this for this little temporary project, right? So currently nothing is a bomb. We do want to change that in the future. I also maybe want to create like a new board function and have this on the new board function. So that's what I will do now. This one is just to sort of create the board itself. So I'll say function game board, and pretty much just copy all this. Oops. And in here, so this sort of the reason I want to do it like this is because I just want to have one function to just sort of create the board itself, right? We have to create like this, the empty list, and then just set everything in the list to 0, and after that we can work on creating the actual board itself. The tiles down here. So there we go. Alright, we have our board, and it has colors. Now let's add, let's say, a 30% chance to be a bomb. I'm not sure what the real chance should be. I'm just gonna add 30% and see what happens from there. Bomb chance equals 0.3, and let's just search through a random number. How do these work? Through a random. Let's look in here. Okay. Okay, great. You can see it. That's useful. You always want to see things just so that you get different random number generation based off the OS time. So let's just search math.random. Between 1 and x, and between x and y. Without a parameter, it gives you a percentage. Okay, great. So let's use that to get our board, shall we? So we'll say if math.random, if math.random is greater than game dot chance we will create args local args equals bomb equals false, and I will say args dot bomb equals true in here. Args. Right, so we feed in args into the tile. Let's see how this looks. Okay. Capital math is not a thing, so let's do lowercase. This is a bit too many bombs. Let's try this. Just reverse it. picked a decent number of bombs, and I think I'm pretty happy with this generation overall. Could actually run it several times as well. You want to know another cool thing we could do? Let's just say on click we call game new board. We can just see several boards. These all look pretty decent, right? Maybe, here's what I'll do. If button equals true, then game new board. Okay. So on middle mouse click, we generate a new board, but we are still free to left and right click however we want. Isn't that great? Alright. So let's give each tile a revealed. Or false. Okay. So if revealed is false, then we draw them. So now we're drawing bombs as well, right? But we can say this. If game.board ik.bomb equals true, then love.graphics.set color. Let's just set color to white. So it would be 111. Let's draw a rectangle. Let's make it a size of like 3. Just to, oops, single equals instead of double equals. So now each mine is marked with a little white square in the top left, which will be helpful for testing. Okay. So now, let's assign each non-bomb tile a value corresponding to how many mines are in its vicinity, right? So tile.nearby bombs equals args.nearby or false. I'm actually just gonna call it nearby, just so I don't have to type extra words. So that should be part of this new board function. For I equals 1, game.board big, 2, for j equals 1, game.board height, 2. I could delete this, by the way. That's only needed over here where we actually initialize everything. So here's where we count each nearby bomb. How do we do this? We say this for pi equals -1, 1, 2, or dj equals -1, 1, 2. Right, so what this for loop does is it iterates from -1, -1, -1, 0, -1, maybe 0, -1. Right, essentially it iterates the 3x3 square. So let's just say, first of all, if we're out of bounds, we don't care about it, right? So let's have NIN equals I plus DI, right? Where DI is the chain I, and NI is the new position of I. Local NJ equals J plus BJ. So if NI is less than or equal to 0, or NJ is less than or equal to 0, or NI greater than game.board or NJ greater than game.board or NI equals to I, or here, actually I'll put that separately, then return. Actually, we don't want to return here, we want to have a continue, right? But I know Lua doesn't have a continue. So we have to use go to continue, right? So we say go to continue. Okay, so if we're out of bounds, we skip that iteration. Well, bomb equals 0, right? At the beginning there's 0 nearby bombs, but if game.board I ni nj dot is bomb or something, bomb, then bombs plus equals 1 equals bombs plus 1. There's no plus equals in Lua. Then after this 3x3, we say game.board I j dot nearby equals bombs. Print nearby bomb count I, comma j, comma bombs. Alright, let's see this. So 2020 sees 0 bombs. 2019 is this one, which sees 2 bombs. That looks correct to me. I'm pretty happy with this then. Alright, so let's see. Next we gotta say if it's revealed, then we want to draw the dirt and draw the number, right? So let's set reveal to true for now. Right, that's revealed equals true. Actually, we don't have to set in there. So if revealed is false, then we do this. Then we draw grass, right? Um, game else dot graphics dot set color game dot art idx. Whoops, we forgot to draw the rectangles. So now we're drawing the dirt. This dirt doesn't look right. If I look at the Minesweeper, I guess this is correct. Wow. I'm so not used to seeing so much dirt next to each other. Anyways, we draw the dirt. Now we say love.graphics.setColor game dot numbers local equals game dot board ij dot nearby. Alright, now we'll see if val not equal to 0, then we set the color to the actual value. Let's see if this works. Okay, attempted to index a nil value. Maybe if we print val first, val is 1. Did I get the array wrong? Oh, it's a number, not numbers. Where am I doing my drawing? It should be in draw, should be number. Okay. Beautiful. Oh, this all works. Now, love text, drawing text, love2d, love.graphics.print. Copy the position from, actually, let's just see. It needs the text. So that should be val. It needs the position to draw it, which is I times game dot file size j times game dot padding game dot file size. And then use orientation, scale factors. I'm gonna try and ignore those for now and just see how this looks. Doesn't look that bad. Right? One thing is, I see 4s here, 5 here. If the tile itself is a bomb, we should never draw a number for it. That just doesn't make sense. But I guess we can kind of ignore that in the grand scheme of things. Okay. We have this beautiful Minesweeper code, right? I believe it all should work. We just now need to implement the game logic itself. So let's work on that, right? So let's just say function game click tile. So actually we can leave this click tile grid pause 1 grid pause 2. Right, so and now we actually call this function, and this function will say if if game.board x y dot bomb, then prints game over clicked bomb. Let's see how this goes, right? Game over clicked bomb. Nothing. Nice. Perfect. I'm gonna get rid of this print statement just because I believe it works now. So let's say you did not click a bomb. If you did not click a bomb, it means click this tile, right? So now I want to have a function reveal tile xy. It should reveal the tile to the north, south, east, and west, right? So if I were to say this tile, I clicked it, it should reveal up, right, down, and left. Obviously left is mine, so we ignore that. Okay. So first of all, we'll say game.board xy.revealed equals true. Let's just say local does equals =1 0 1 0 0 -1 0 1. We have 4 directions. So let's just search Lua for loops, because there are different ways to do for loops. I want a iterator. Something like this is perfect. Well, we're not really using key value pairs, right? That's like a dictionary style, so we should probably skip that. And iPairs looks pretty useful. Let's just say direction in ipairs awareness do shrinks dirt 0 dirt 1. Sorry, this should be 1, should be 2. Directions. So, whenever we're calling this function, let's say else reveal game reveal that's string. Perfect. See how it's revealing individual tiles? That's great. One thing I want to check, okay, is blank tiles actually are blank, that's great. So, let's say local, just 1 second while I check, yeah, okay. Ni equals dirt 1 plus and x equals dirt 1 plus x, well, and y equals dirt 2 plus y. If nx greater than 0 and ny greater than 0, and actually, I'm going to do it this way. No. And nx less than no. Or I'm gonna do it this way, just because it ends up with a bit cleaner code if you do it reversed like this, right? So if it is greater than game.board width or ny greater than game.board width height, then return. If it's out of bounds, you return. Otherwise, let's call reveal tile game.reveal tile advance ny. We also need another quick condition. We will say if game.board x y revealed equals true, or game.board x y bomb, then return. We're not revealing bombs, and we're not revealing things that are already revealed. Let's see how this fares. We can delete this print statement. So if I click, whoops, indexing a null value. Okay, how can we debug this? It happens line 134 reveal tile. 134. Got it. So this does not work. So let's just print just to see what is happening exactly. Got it. So we're calling 7 common nil. That's not good. What's happening there? Aha, this is a dot and not a colon. This should be a colon. Perfect. Look at that, right? You can see it's pretty much revealed everything though. I'm not sure if that's correct, so let's generate a new board. Click right here. So there definitely still is some bug, because if we look at this section, this should have went downwards as well and filled in this whole section, right? Why is this tile not filled in? So it does look like there's still some trickery in here. One thing might be this. Um, Let's make bombs more likely. So bomb is a 50% chance, so we can better see how cages function, right? Okay, so this did not go up. And this is definitely very wrong, right? Actually, no. This looks pretty correct to me. See how everything is kind of connected? But we are missing some tiles, which is quite strange. I notice how they're on the edge. So that gives me a hint that what my problem is has to do with edges. So what if we say +1, just to see what happens. It's very likely I get some out of bounds issues, but I just want to see if I can't fix it along the edge, right? That didn't seem to fix it. Whoops. Oh. That was a different project I was working on. Guess I should close that before I started working on this, but what's happening is that it doesn't go down or up along the edge, right? It doesn't go right on the edge either. So, aha, I see the problem. This should not be a return. This should be a continue, right? So we'll say go to continue. So this should fix it, right? Instead of returning and stopping the loop immediately, let's just go to continue. Perfect. So now, if I get rid of the drawing of the marking the bombs, I do want to make the numbers a little bit bigger. So I'm going to use the scale factor, maybe double their size. How about that? SX and SY. Print. Alright, I forgot you can't actually do this in Lua, so I need to set orientation as well. Okay, a little bit better. Not much. let's make this back to 3. And now we should have a fully functional Minesweeper. So, currently there's no way to win, but you can generate new boards. Sounds like 30% is 2 metal bombs. So let's see how the Google Minesweeper does it. If I start a hard, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 by 24 with 99 bombs. So 24 times 24, 99 divided by 5 cents 6. It's around about 17%. So if I were to just make this, I see. So it shouldn't just, I kind of revealing everything right now. If I click on here, it stops when the value is not 0, right? So that's my problem right now. So let's just fix that real quick. That should be in my reveal tile. If game.board x y.value not equal to 0, then return. Not equal to. Ooh, that's a problem. Is it called value? It's called nearby. So now this should work. Okay, if I find a 0 in the first place, there we go. See that? But we should also reveal this one, right? Because we need to reveal. Maybe here's how we should do the revealing. Actually, so when you click a number, what happens? Let's go to Google Minesweeper. You always start on a 0. I see, so only when you click on a 0 does it do the big reveal of island, right? And when you click on numbers, it just reveals them individually. So let's do that, right? Currently, we reveal. If it is not 0, then we just return. If it is 0, we should actually be checking every direction. need to check 0, 0. Maybe this will just get it to work. Beautiful. What I'm doing is I'm checking the 8 tiles around it in directions now. That's the reason why I implemented direction as this list of adjacent coordinates, and I have this to interpret that and prevent out of bounds, because it is easy to change and I don't have to hard code any logic. But anyways, now we have a pretty fully functional Minesweeper, right? See, we don't have flags yet, but you don't really need flags, right? Could click right here, boom, beautiful. Right, see, could pretty much just play Minesweeper now. I know this project was a bit of a mess in both how long it took and sort of me like stumbling my way through everything, but I mean, this is my first time doing a YouTube video like this, and I'm sort of just still learning Lua, Love2d and everything. So obviously I had to do a lot of Googling and just spend a lot of wasted time on this, but hopefully this gives you a bit of a rundown on how you can learn Lua, Love2d, all that stuff, and how the process you kind of go through, right? Let me know if you want to see me do something else in the future or continue this project doing, or if you have like different ideas for things you could do in Love2d or other languages in general. I am open to learning. Yeah, just please drop a comment. Let me know what you thought of this video as well. And give me some advice on Lua and Love2d if you're an expert. Why don't you teach me a bit? Anyways, thanks for watching. And have a nice rest of your day. Bye.